The harder the conflict, the greater the triumph.
A fiercest serpent may be overcome by a swarm of ants.
Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way. Age wrinkles the body, quitting wrinkles the soul.
Battle buddies.
Battle buddies.
And if not, then we'll do this accordingly and have fun fixing everything in post.
Yeah, everything's gonna be great.
Well, goodness gracious, dude.
Woo!
It's been a hot second since we've been recorded, and what we sought out to do. We're finally back.
We're back.
It's been amazing, obviously, having our guests.
It's
plural.
been great. Yeah, we've had thank you everybody for coming on.
Yeah, we've had some pretty big names.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, people from the last podcast network have stopped by.
He wrote for Vice.
Yeah, we've had a Vice writer.
Jesus.
A New York Times writer. We've had some people in local politics stop by who have their own podcasts. We've had professional rappers stop by.
We've been going through it.
The only way is up.
The only way's up.
The only way is up here, dude. It turns out when you podcast for, if you just keep doing something, you do get better at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do it intentionally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Battle Buddies. Mr. Kevin and I have been digging our nose into some books, and we are starting today off with the Battle of New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Nolans.
But you don't say Nolans.
You don't say that.
So this is my sister-in-law's thing.
Tell me everything.
You don't say New Orleans. That makes it obvious that you're not from here, Kevin.
Okay.
You don't say Nolans because that means that you just want to go to Bourbon Street and get fucked up. So you say New Orleans.
Okay.
But that was just like a random thing that I heard when I was drunk one day.
So if I were to say Nolans, that makes me sound like an asshole.
Yeah, in that moment, that's what I was told. But there's a lot of moments in life.
There is a lot of moments in life.
Maybe there's a time to say Nolans. Like when you're really hyped up, I wonder if they say it.
I think my dad...
What's their big parade called?
Mardi Gras?
Mardi Gras, but is that when isn't there like another like parade name or something that they do?
Yeah, I know that they have parades for like funerals. Their funerals are like huge celebrations, right?
Yeah, they just have like a lot of parties.
The culture there is interesting. You've been to Louisiana.
I lived in Louisiana, kind of.
How was that?
I fucking loved it.
Really?
Yeah, so like my parents moved to Baton Rouge because my dad worked in oil, and then I stayed with them a bunch, and I loved every second of it. It was like awesome.
Am I making things up when I've heard that Louisiana is deemed the friendliest state in the United States? Is that a thing?
I would believe it.
Does that sound... It's like the type of place where people wave on the street as you drive by?
Yeah, like everyone's hella nice.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like they have issues.
We all got issues.
I mean, they got Huey Long, who they have statues for.
Who's that?
He was like he's like the most corrupt governor in the world.
Cool.
And like he loved Louisiana, but he also loved like his own stuff. We'll do some Huey Long stuff eventually, but like there's bullet holes in the Capitol and stuff like from it. Like his shit's wild.
Today we are going to be talking a lot about
bullet holes,
symbols, people as symbols.
In 1806, we took a little trip.
So, since we're talking about people and symbols, before we get into the good stuff, I gotta say, I found out about a person that's from Sacramento, and I feel like Sacramento should be, like, playing more into this.
Okay.
Did you know that LeVar Burton is from Sacramento?
What?
Yeah, the dude from Reading Rainbow.
I love Reading Rainbow.
I also love LaForge.
Yes.
From Star
LaForge
Trek.
is great. As a kid, you're like, what is that?
Yes, dude. I wear glasses.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. And then motherfucking Kunta Kinte from Roots.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Damn.
I feel like there should be a statue of LeVar Burton in Sacramento.
Let's petition it.
I really do think we should go, and we should go do some city hall meetings at Sacramento, like LeVar Burton, but it's like the Star Trek LeVar Burton, and there's like a rainbow going over him.
I used to have there was like Christmas ornaments of LeVar Burton with like his little phaser.
With his phaser. That's dope. I like that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Did he ever get laid in Next Generation? Ryder got laid all the time. There are whole websites dedicated to how much alien butt Ryder got.
Well, because I feel like spiritually connected to LaForge, I'm going to go ahead and say probably didn't get laid.
No, did he fall in love in the VR room? I think he may have fallen in the VR room.
What is that called?
The holodeck.
The holodeck. Man, I fucking love Star
Is it
Trek.
Ryder or Riker?
Riker.
Riker. I said Ryder. That's wrong.
That's okay.
I corrected myself.
That's all right. We're nerds, but we're not that nerdy.
We're fine.
Yeah, we're on the cusp.
That was me in high school, like friends with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a role and I played it. So anyway, I'm going to front load this. I'm going to say, if you're listening and you made it here so far,
Ooh, there you go.
go ahead and open up your phone and rate and review us, dude. That would be super
that'd be
beneficial.
great.
Yeah, that would be great.
I would love that.
I would absolutely adore that. We have some special
You don't
stuff.
have to one up me like that, but it's fine.
We got some special stuff coming as the new year 2024 is going to come in. And so get ready for that. But here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I read a book. Well, I'm in the process of reading it. It's a book by Brian Kilmeade and Don Yeager called Andrew Jackson and the Miracle of New Orleans, the Battle That Shaped America's Destiny. Okay, so that's pretty much kind of the only literature with, like, you know, bits and pieces of things that I researched on the internet here and there, obviously. But, you know, yeah, that's my source.
That's your main
cited.
source. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a song too that we've been listening to.
We do have a song. Do you like that picture?
I really like the picture.
Yeah, dude. Pretty stoked about our awesome picture we got going on there.
They're very piratey glasses that they drew on you.
Arr, I'm surprised he didn't give me an eye patch.
Yeah,
Because I did have an eye patch in kindergarten.
Did you? They tried
Yeah.
they think it like corrected your astigmatism or
didn't.
something? No, it doesn't. Turns out that research
No.
is wrong. Traumatized a lot of kids.
Correct. The 90s was fucked.
Those things are so hard. Like, can you imagine the one who like conclusively does the data to say that this was just a fucking waste of time?
I understand the spirit of what they were trying
No,
to do.
absolutely. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, I think that researcher feels really bad. Like, it was all wrong.
Yeah, listeners, what we're talking about is in the 90s, I'd wear an eye patch in like kindergarten because in theory they thought that if one eye was covered up, the muscles on the other eye would strengthen.
It's sound because eyes are crazy. So Hannah has really bad eyes, my wife.
Yeah.
And one eye will go crazy and you're like, oh, fuck, that eye's fucked. And then she goes to the eye doctor and they're like, that's the healthy eye. Your other eye is wrecked.
Oh, God.
And your healthy eye is trying to do all the work to save your other eye. And so it's getting destroyed because of it. Man, eyes. Crazy.
Man eyes.
Not man eyes. I don't like man eyes.
Man ass.
Dang.
Dang.
Ours are sweaty at the end of these recordings.
Oh, yes. we got some swamp ass for sure. But, you know, autumn is upon us, and I say we just pump out as many episodes as we
Let's
can.
do it. The winter's going to be great for us. We're going to feast.
Yes. So, listeners, thank you for being here. And let's kick this off. I want to start by saying it's, you know, important that we speak on the idea of slavery in the United States. Unfortunately, we do have to have that talk.
We did it.
We did. Guilty.
Guilty.
I mean, you and I didn't do it, but
No, but we benefit from it.
Fair? Yeah, that's true. So, yes, Andrew Jackson will be spoken a lot about in this podcast. Andrew Jackson was a slave owner, and we'll be going over subjects that kind of make him look cool. No, slavery is not cool. You know what else is not cool? North Korea, Eritrea, Mauritania, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Tajikistan, United Arab Emirates, Russia, Afghanistan, and Kuwait all currently have slavery. That is according to the Global Slavery Index. I originally had 6, and my brother was like, there's more than 6.
Damn.
We found out that there's 10, and I said, when the world gets 10 countries that have slavery, does it get a free sandwich?
Does it
And my
get
brother
one for
said,
free?
actually, it gets global warming.
Pretty good.
Kevin's getting over a cough, everybody. So if you hear him cough, that's just because he almost died for 3 weeks.
It was terrible,
Yeah.
but I'm back.
Yeah, you weren't even the same person. It was
No. The way that Spencer described that he knew I was sick was that I said no to something that someone told me to do. And you just said no, Kevin, and you love rules. Your autism loves the rules.
Yeah, he was hella defiant. He was like super defiant about something where he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I was like, new. That's new. All right. So before we condemn people from hundreds of years ago like Andrew Jackson, perhaps we look at what is happening right now and question why we care about things we cannot control from the past as opposed to things that we can maybe do right now.
Historical figures don't need to be heroes.
It's truth, dude. It's truth. Again, anti-slavery. Not trying to worship Andrew Jackson by any means. This is just a podcast about battles, and the Battle of New Orleans looked interesting to me, and here we are covering it. We also covered the Battle of Thermopylae and Sparta and Persia, and there was a shit ton of slaves in that.
Yeah. Or what about all the hostages that take place in the Gaul-Caesar conflict?
Slavery is a part of history, dude.
It's a part of history.
Like when...
We're not justifying it.
No. I'm just saying, like, it's just a matter of... It just happened. Like,
if you want to know our official stance, listen to Dan Carlin's Transatlantic Slavery episode, because that is how I feel about everything now, because he just really opened my eyes to, like, how intense it was as, like, a thing that happened.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we have to stop doing what we're doing.
Yeah, it's not like these people who go on Spartan races, like, should we all drive up there and like, Spartans had slaves? Like,
right.
Don't go on Spartan races. That's pro-slavery.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, everybody, we're just trying to have fun here, and we're anti-slavery. Cool?
Both of those things at the same time.
Yeah. Was that a good disclaimer?
I like it. It's
Okay.
like, it's anti-racism, right? Like, that's important.
Yeah.
I like it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Hot take, don't be racist.
Yeah, be anti that.
Yes.
We're teachers. We have to be anti that, and I love it.
Yeah. Check out this cool picture of Andrew Jackson
Look how
smoking
cool he
a
looks.
cigarette. This is the type of history podcast you guys have arrived to.
This is right after Spencer said, I'm going to make Andrew Jackson look cool. And then he just put a cigarette in his mouth.
Fun little fact. My wife is related to Andrew Jackson.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because she always said that and it didn't really mean anything to me. And I've been looking up all these paintings. I'm like, damn, on her mom's side, there is a resemblance.
Is there? Like the
Yes.
Andrew Jackson bloodline continues.
Like I see it in her
right.
uncle's face. I'm like, you are Andrew Jackson.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like with a cigarette? That's not AI?
Yeah.
Dude, have you heard that fucking Beach Boy song that AI created?
Is it good?
It's really good. But he did a lot of work. Like, if you watch the work, he had AI do all these things, and then he had to mix it all himself.
So I'm wondering, right, if we get like to 100 episodes, can we just pay AI to make our episodes for the... And it's like, we paid it. It's like...
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Will they be as good? We're really funny. No,
Yeah,
AI
dude.
struggles with jokes. Humor's hard.
Humor is difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult to be us. All right.
No, it's not.
No.
To do the podcast, yes, but to be us personally,
No.
like, we're living the
No,
fucking
we're
dream.
children.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah. Now, our story begins with rumors of war. That's right.
Ooh, I like
1776 had offered the United States its independence from Great Britain and would forever be heralded as the American Revolution. But we weren't done fighting the fucking Brits just yet. James Madison was leading a country that was getting invariably annoyed by the presence of the British and its push into the western frontier. Great Britain was continuously kidnapping American sailors and spreading rumors and lies to Native American tribes to instigate and persuade them to fuck up American settlers in the frontier. Those damn British.
Damn.
Now, learning about this now is kind of funny because, of course, we too were all just a bunch of white people in the eyes of the natives, but the citizens of the United States were still annoyed by the Brits and were basically like, kindly fuck off.
Yeah. Dude, in the, I forget what that fucking show, what's that show? It's a Netflix show, and it's about, like, courtly love stuff. Oh, damn it. I'm not there right now.
What are you talking about?
It's like a Victorian show, like 1800s, and it's about like people in England getting married, and like they have, it's like kind of cool because they have like black actors and stuff in it.
Oh!
Anyway,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is how much Spencer and I really care about like rich people stories from the past. But it was really interesting because Hannah had me watching it the second season, and they made this guy, the king, look really like sympathetic. Like, oh man, he's really going through it. He has a lot of mental issues. Like he may have a lot of shit. And I was like, this timeline feels weird. And they didn't bring up America one time, but I was like, I don't know if I feel sympathetic for me. Is this fucking King George the Third? The tyrant? Yes, it was. And they made him look like just a guy struggling mentally. Like, I'm pretty sure we fought that dude.
That's fun. You're an American. He's like, fuck this guy. Are you serious?
What mental disorders?
This dude's over here like King George the Third. Fuck
the tyrant?
This dude. That's hilarious. Oh man, what is that movie? I really want to know.
It starts with a B. Brook and Shields. Broomsicles. The Bernstein Bears.
Broomsicles. Bridgerton.
Bridgerton, I was close.
Thank you. You got my you jogged my memory with the broomsicles. That's hilarious. All right. So the United States tried to fight Britain the diplomatic way, with embargoes and sanctions. Woo! Badass. But it didn't work. Their major trade partner was Great Britain, so sanctioning them only hurt the United States more than Britain. The United States said, fuck it, and declared war on June 1st, 1812. Could America win? Less than 30 years removed from the last war, and with virtually no national army? Were Americans prepared to take on Britain and defend themselves, this time without the help of France? The world was about to find out.
Nice.
Are you in traffic right now just fucking pumped about this story as much as I am, dude?
This is good.
Let's fucking go, dude.
We're really pro-French military helping America's military.
We're going to campaign that France isn't as bad as America likes to say it is.
When we were teenagers, we were fed a narrative, and as we've interrogated that narrative, it doesn't seem to hold up at all. Just any amount of scrutiny, even the lightest amount of scrutiny, like salted scrutiny, is like, no, it doesn't work.
Dude, that is so well put.
Yeah,
the way you said that, I love that. As we interrogated that narrative, like, I feel as though we have adopted this anti-French persona from Britain.
We fought them not that long before this, which, like, I get that, like, it all worked out. I'm glad we're friends.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds great. I love, like, Green Street Hooligans. It's an important film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie. All right, now who the fuck is this Andrew Jackson
Yeah,
guy,
who is
okay?
he?
What's going on with this dude? Within the context of this story, and for the sake of brevity, let me see, I think we got Andrew Jackson here. There he is. There's Uncle.
He's not as
Uncle
cool
Mike.
without a cigarette.
No.
Uncle Mike, is that the uncle?
Uncle Mark.
Uncle Mark.
Now, within the context of this story, and for the sake of brevity, Jackson was a trader, a merchant, and a lawyer. Jackson bought and sold land, and by the time Tennessee joined the Union in 1796, he had won the respect of his neighbors, who chose him as their delegate to the state's constitutional convention. Jackson then served as Tennessee's first congressman for one session before becoming a U.S. senator.
Oh, he went to the Constitutional Convention?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's a big deal.
Thanks to his strong relationships and sound political instincts, he was elected Major General of the Tennessee Militia in February 1802. Maintained by the state, not the federal government, the militia was provisioned by local men who supplied their own weapons, that's going to be important later, and uniforms, and served short contracts for a few months' duration. That sounds like that's dope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you could have just been like, I got my daddy's gun, and I'm going to go be in the military for a couple months. And people are like, how was it? Like, it was a lot of naked men.
But now it's just like lame-ass militias that like don't actually mean anything.
It's like Boogaloo Boys and a bunch
Yeah.
of dudes in fucking West Virginia who are bored and don't have jobs and they're on welfare and they're just shooting into trees.
And in Oregon, man,
yeah.
I see it a lot when I'm in there. I'm like, you make me uncomfortable drinking a beer with your gun in your hand.
Dude, it is true. So on my honeymoon, we went up to Oregon and we were in rural Oregon, which is what most of it is.
It's a specific area,
Mhm.
which is all of it.
And I remember asking these people that we were in the Airbnb, I was like, what do you people do out here? Like, I don't understand how you have work
Yeah.
in the middle of the woods. And they're like, dude, most of the people are on welfare.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like, that's
That's like the Mormon thing, right? You bleed the beast. That's what they say.
What is that? What does it mean?
It means that you are going to take that. That's how you stay. It's like a paradoxical, right? Because how can you be a conservative and take in welfare? How can you be a Mormon and take government help? So
absolutely.
So you bleed the beast. Like, I'm destroying it by using it, which doesn't make sense.
Perfect point, because most of the people in Oregon, rural Oregon, they're like
They would be a red
people.
state if it wasn't for how big population Portland and Eugene are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I fucking love Oregon. I'm not saying anything against Oregon.
Oh, dude,
Oregon is also the last. It was the last place where a moderate Republican could live, and like I didn't know how much I'd miss moderate Republicans until they died. But like, they were lovely people in contrast to all of the other political parties, because they were just like, what about just fiscal responsibility? And like, nothing else matters to me. And like, it was kind of a nice talking point to make middle ground.
Shout out to John McCain.
Yeah, it was like a McCain thing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man.
All right.
Shout out to Oregon. I was raised by an Oregonian.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, no big deal.
Near the Ochagos? Was she near the Ochagos?
No. She was in high desert.
Rough. But Ochagos are high desert. That's the mountains right there.
So she was in Hermiston. It's like far away from the ocean.
Okay. No, Ochagos.
Oh, I thought you said ocean coast.
No, the Ochagos is like, we got scarier and scarier for like 8 hours until we reached this essentially like Arizona looking desert.
Yes.
And they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I need some gas. I'm sorry. And I'm not allowed to pump it myself.
Which Californians constantly fuck up. Andrew Jackson, the general, had no love for the British. He'd spent time as their prisoner during the Revolutionary War.
Damn.
Yeah, as a kid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's so. I left it out of the narrative, but there is a part of the book that I read where he legitimately like saw his parents get like murked by.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy
so
shit.
he hates them.
Yeah.
Deeply. He was itching for a chance to confront them in battle. He said, "I owe to Britain a debt of retaliatory vengeance," he once told his wife. "Should our forces meet, I trust I shall pay that debt."
Damn.
Jackson fucking hated Great Britain. He wrote, "Citizens, your government has at last yielded to the impulses of a nation. Are we the titled slaves of George III, the military conscripts of Napoleon the Great, or the frozen peasants of the Russian Tsar? No. We are the freeborn sons of America, the citizens of the only republic now existing in the fucking world."
Damn.
End quote.
Dude, we don't say epic shit anymore.
Yeah, that's dope.
Think about our last two presidents. It's like Bidenomics.
The last dope thing I've ever heard a president say was, "I did everything right and they indicted me."
It's like, you have Bidenomics, which is like lame Biden speak, and then you have Trump like sad. Like, none of that's cool. I guess Obama was cool, but he killed kids with drones, so like bums me out.
Yeah. So, why New Orleans? Why? Right? What the fuck are we doing here?
Dude, by the way, our system, if you're watching our Spotify right now, like, whew, you're in for a treat.
Open up that crispy view of our new setup we got here. If you're on Spotify, open it up. We'll also this will be on YouTube, hopefully. Let's look at a map of New Orleans and where it lies within the context of North America. This is a port city.
Port.
An important one. I didn't even mean to do that.
Yeah. Look at that.
An important one. Think about the time frame here. Commerce was mainly controlled by sea. Globalism was made possible because of shipments by sea, because of port cities like New Orleans.
It still is.
It still is.
Were we talking about the Suez Canal? Remember that shit?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Bro, we live in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
it's huge here too.
Yep.
I'm always seeing barges come in there. Napoleon and the rest of the world had their eyes on New Orleans too, but Napoleon and his army had a major setback in the Caribbean when they were decimated by yellow fever.
Damn.
President Jefferson viewed this as a major opportunity to strike and get the valued New Orleans for the United States. New Orleans was considered the great gateway to and from the heart of the country. The dispositional convenience was insanity. America's inland waterways, the Ohio, the Missouri, and the numerous other rivers that emptied into the Mississippi, amounted to an economic lifeline for farmers, trappers, and lumbermen upstream.
What do you mean by dispositional
Convenience?
Yeah, it's a good term.
Dude, it's a term I actually made up in the intelligence field.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you.
I swear to God,
I'm so impressed with you all the time.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, so dispositional convenience basically means like a location that can give you so much
just by being
prosperity.
there, yeah, you will get things for it. Okay.
And like the way that I came up with that term was I was a young man trying to figure out why the fuck we were in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And I looked at it on a map and I was like, oh, it's right in between China and Iran.
Right.
Perhaps it's dispositional convenience.
Yeah.
Like,
do you think there's like an 18-year-old little intel enlisted guy who's like, I'm looking at my terms I have to learn. What the fuck is dispositional convenience?
whew, I'll never know.
What if you put a stamp in the U.S. military forever?
I don't know. I mean, that's dope. I mean, we
That idea at least is going to be there.
That's awesome. I hope that's true. Like
Absolutely,
to
that's
be
true.
Immortalized.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
They're going to take that idea and keep moving with it. They for sure kept moving with it.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Means a lot to me, man. So flatboats and keelboats were a common sight, carrying manufactured goods from Pennsylvania, as well as crops, pelts, and logs from the burgeoning farms and lush forests across the Ohio Valley, Cumberland Gap, and Great Smoky Mountains. On reaching the wharves and warehouses of New Orleans, the goods went aboard ships to be transported all over the world. Although Louisiana became a state in April of 1812, the British still questioned the legitimacy of America's ownership of the Louisiana Territory. Napoleon had taken Louisiana from Spain, and to some Europeans, it remained rightfully a possession of the Spanish crown. Jackson feared that sort of thinking could provide the British with just the pretext they needed to interfere with the American experiment. Capturing New Orleans would be the perfect way to disrupt America's western expansion.
Well, I never realized it was because of... Like, I knew that Britain wanted to oppose it because they're like, fuck you, America, you don't get everything for free now. I didn't realize that they were going through this proxy of Spain. That's really interesting.
Mhm.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're driving or whatever, someday later on today, open up your Google map and just see all these different like tributaries and waterways that are coming out of New Orleans and how far it goes into the United States, like the Midland of the United States. It's
it really does.
wild. It's wild. The British thought if they took New Orleans, then they would essentially be suffocating the lungs of the nation. So remember this line right here. No New Orleans, no America. That's essentially...
Damn.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yep. All right. Now, for months, Jackson awaited word from the War Department. He could do nothing but complain angrily to the old grannies in Washington. Only in November did he get word from Governor Blount, who was the governor of Tennessee, writing on behalf of President Madison, ordering Jackson to protect the territory of the Mississippi Valley. Finally, the men in Washington were recognizing the needs of the West. Jackson was to assemble a force and proceed to New Orleans immediately to defend it from a likely British invasion. Jackson issued a call to arms, and a fuckload of farmers, planters, and businessmen, many of them were sons of Revolutionary War veterans, and they poured into Nashville. These volunteers were eager to fight for their country, to protect their homes, and to serve General Jackson. So, Jackson floats down the Cumberland River with roughly 2,000 men. This was not as simple as it sounds. Like I just kind of plainly say that. Oh, just floating
Just
down
do
the
that.
river with 2,000 men. The expedition took 5 weeks, cost 1 boat, and 3 lives were lost.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Like an entire book could be written just about that experience.
Yeah, holy shit.
As the men waited for word from Washington and what to do next, Jackson just took this time to get to know his men. He was a solid-ass leader where he took genuine concern for his troops and got to know them on a deep level, which made them more loyal to his leadership. So when I think about like, what are you doing in this time period when you're floating down a river for 5 weeks and you got like time to spare? You're fucking talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're fucking bonding, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to create a strong...
It's something that's missed in today's world, for sure. Right? Like the slowness of the life, the like actually get to know the people around you.
Absolutely, dude. Of course. The way that we get to know people now is very superficial and shitty.
Yeah. Because it's so fast. The transaction's fast.
Yeah. The transaction is fast.
It
That's
is.
a very good way to put that. All right. Finally, on March 15th, 1813, a much anticipated letter from the War Department arrived only to humiliate and infuriate Andrew Jackson and his men, who had sacrificed their time, their money, and in some cases their lives to travel to defend New Orleans. As a result of America's many failures early in the war, General John Armstrong had replaced William Eustis as Secretary of War in January, and Armstrong had decided to append all Eustis's strategy. Quote, on receipt of this letter, General Armstrong had written, consider your corps as dismissed from public service. Armstrong's focus would not be on the South, but on the East Coast, where he thought the greatest jeopardy lay. At first, Jackson was confused about the dismissal meaning. Could Armstrong really be telling him to disband his army? He was. Jackson's army was to return home and forget about defending New Orleans. To add insult to injury, they also ordered Jackson to confiscate their weapons. This is a big deal.
They're weapons that they brought.
Yeah, but that's what I was telling you earlier.
Jesus.
These are their weapons. Some of them...
Second Amendment people do have some historical things to back on sometimes.
This is one of them. So
Yeah.
if you listen, it was like, oh, these are like sons of Revolutionary War veterans. They probably got their weapons from their dad.
Yeah.
Like, remember, we learned about this in Sparta.
I was like, this is a Sparta thing for sure. You
That
inherit
weapons
it.
are like past. It's like a huge part of your property.
Well, it's like squirrel guns too. Like that comes up in our song, but like you like it's your fucking farm gun. It's your things to deal with rodents. Like,
Dude, it's a part of life.
my first time entering into Hannah's grandparents' house in Oregon, the grandma who I fucking love, she just like she walked me over, showed me the house, and she showed me this little pellet gun. She's like, here's the pellet gun. Here's how it works. She like spent a lot of time explaining to me how the CO2 cartridge works. She's like, if you see any fucking deer, she didn't say fuck. If you see any deer, you shoot that deer in the head so that he stops coming into my garden and eating my strawberries.
For sure.
And like she was dead serious.
Absolutely.
Like, any birds, any deer, we're shooting them.
Country.
And I sleep next to that gun every time I'm there, and I love it. I'm like, I got a little bit of respect from this person.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I had when my family members moved here from Germany to escape the Franco-Prussian War.
Heavy stuff.
Very heavy. They had their weapons from the Franco-Prussian War. So like on the farm in Illinois, like I have family members who remember like, yeah, we used to see their like muskets. from, like,
Damn.
yeah. So
That's
like
cool. That's
old
cool.
weapons, like acquiring that is not the same feeling that we have today
Well, 'cause
with weapons.
Technology used to take longer to become obsolete,
Absolutely.
right? Now weapons, you know that from the military, weapons become obsolete so much faster
Exactly.
now. It's
Exactly.
an issue. It's honest issue for you guys.
Yep, a mass productions of things does tend to devalue things, as we know.
But not us.
Just fine wine over here.
I'm gonna get another beer real quick.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I just tried to talk to Hannah,
Mm-hmm.
and I was telling her about a joke that we just had about the show that she watched. She's like, what show? I was like, oh, fuck, I can't remember the name of the show anymore. I was like, it's Brookenstein or Broomsicle. I was like, oh, the same thing's happening again.
Bridgerton.
She got there.
That's hilarious.
So now I'm not going to forget Bridgerton again.
Did you
that was
watch that
embarrassing.
entire show?
No.
Okay.
I watched some of it because I'll do anything my wife wants to because I fucking love that lady.
Yeah, I feel you. British shows are so fucking hard sometimes.
Well, that's definitely like an American show about British people.
fair. Still, that sounds worse.
This is not my thing.
No.
I was trying to tell my students this is why I don't care that much about The Great Gatsby. because like I don't really care about rich people problems that much.
Not at all.
But I said the last page of that book is like the best last page of any book I've ever read.
It's the death of the American dream.
Yeah, it's like the wave ceases, like crashing ceaselessly against time. Like, oh, it's a really good, like, but also like rich people problems don't matter.
His
They're-
wife was
they're
Zelda,
fine.
right?
Yeah.
This bitch. All right.
Whoa, hot take. Is Zelda?
She's like a horrible person.
I thought she had like mental issues.
Oh.
Isn't the Zelda Fitzgerald thing? I don't. I'm basing a lot of this off of the Woody Allen movie.
I don't know. I just know that it seems like she was stringing him along, and he was like, yeah, that's what it seems like to
He
me.
was definitely like a lover, like a little sick love boy.
Yes. He was not, there was not a lot of reciprocation.
What's that? Walks at Midnight. God, I'm doing terrible with names right now.
I don't know.
You know it. It's Owen Wilson.
Oh, Midnight in Paris.
Midnight Walks at Midnight. Dude, I'm dying
Walks
with
at
references right
midnight.
now. My references are nowhere near
They're
where
not
they
out
should
of,
be.
they are out of control.
All right. Sorry, continue.
No worries. All right. We're back from a beer break.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you're not driving, you should have grabbed yourself a second beer.
You should grab a second beer. It's nice. I don't drink beer very often.
Now, Armstrong wanted to use their weapons for the East Coast and also did not pay the soldiers for their wasted time with Jackson. Basically, he told them to go fuck themselves.
He wasn't going to pay them?
No.
Of all the things you have to do, just
Dude.
fucking pay the people.
They didn't have money. They didn't have money. So Jackson marched these soldiers home and made sure they arrived safely and risked his life doing so.
Holy shit. He marched them back.
Yeah.
They could have shot him.
Yeah, he's dope, dude. They definitely, well, they respected him. They knew that it was out of his control.
Okay, but like, I tell kids things are out of my control all the time, and it's like 50-50
Fair.
if they like believe me or not, or care that it is.
Then I guess that just shows you how fucking amazing of a leader he was.
He has charisma. He's
Yeah.
scoring high on his charisma. My
He
Baldur's
smoked
Gate
cigarettes,
rolling.
bro.
Whoop. Smoke cigarettes. He did. Everyone smoked back then.
Hell yeah. The territory they had to go through to get back home was deeply saturated with Native Americans who did not take kindly to white European presence, some of which combined forces with the British to fight the white Americans.
Complicated.
It is complicated. Now, Jackson found himself fighting against Native Americans who had allied with Great Britain. The British were ravaging the East Coast near what is today known as Maryland and the rest of New England. Though Jackson was starting to gain an intense disdain for Native Americans because of their loyalty to the British, he realized that not all of them were on the side of the king. He set aside his bias and realized that befriending the Native American tribes such as the Creek, Choctaw, and Cherokee would be extremely wise.
That's good.
Yeah, this is dope. He convinced other commanders to do so in the effort that their understanding of other Native Americans would be an invaluable form of intelligence for fighting those who allied with Great Britain.
Interesting.
I think it's dope that he was like, man, fuck Native Americans. Actually, wait, not all of them.
Yeah.
Like that was a very...
Well, let's actually like see if that's true or not. I wish it ended better because the start of that idea of what you're saying is really good. It just ends with like the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But before that, not bad.
There is some good things that
There's a
come out of
silver
this.
lining. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll take
not,
it.
It's not all bad,
It's just I don't feel great about it.
and it's not good.
It's like the anti-racist, like anti-slavery, anti-everything we did to
Yes,
people that
I
were
do
here.
not wish that a bunch of Native Americans were decimated. I'm gonna go ahead and say
every like Native American conversation, you're like, sorry.
it's a hard one to avoid.
Sorry.
It's a hard one to avoid.
But it's our reality. We're not going to hide it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's what matters.
I'm not gonna pretend like it didn't
I'm not
happen.
going to pretend like it didn't happen.
So, Jackson's spies brought word that British troops had landed at Pensacola.
Hey,
This could mean only one thing. As long expected, the enemy had to be preparing to assault the Gulf Coast, and in particular, its most important city, New Orleans. Jackson's reputation was beginning to travel farther afield, and for the first time, United States Army regulars were put under his command in addition to the volunteers, raising the total troops in Jackson's army to more than 3,500 men. The British were continually supplying some of the Creeks with supplies. In return, they expected violence towards Jackson's forces. But Jackson had a scout under his sleeve by the name of Davy Crockett.
Davy Crockett.
Davy
King
motherfucking
of the
Crockett.
wild frontier.
He would soon give Jackson some important information about the Creek's whereabouts and logistical details. This information gave Jackson the advantage and was able to capture the leader of the Creeks, none other than Red Eagle. Damn. Jackson was brilliant through, though, and spared Red Eagle's life with the only order to convince the rest of the Creeks to stop helping the British and choose peace with the white Americans. If they did, Jackson would do everything he could to protect them. So he was like,
All right.
I'm going to spare your lives, but you're going to help us and you're going to say, fuck the British. It's war, dude. This is war.
I was like, this is like the most reasonable war shit that I've heard.
It's war. It's unfortunate. It's just like,
the way
all
it
right,
works.
you won. You're not going to kill us. You just want us to help you fight the British. Fuck it.
Yeah.
This union made up this was called the Treaty of Fort Jackson. This treaty between the Creeks and white Americans gave the United States access to 22 million acres and opened up the expansion to the west.
Like the Bonnie Bear song?
Wait, which one?
Doesn't Bonnie Bear have a whole 22 million?
I don't know.
This is freaking me out.
So I said, go on, manifest that fucking destiny.
Hey!
All right. This next section is called The British Are Coming Again.
I can't believe that's really good.
Thank you.
I can't believe that I keep forgetting that like Davy Crockett was real. Is like Paul Bunyan's giant blue ox is not real because I used to sing all those different songs and like Davy Crockett.
Oh yes.
And some in my head he's like, yeah, just like the giant blue ox. No, he was real.
That's a tall tale, Kevin. Yeah, Davy Crockett was he's like super huge in Texas, I believe.
Yeah,
Like,
Bonnie
he
Bear
fought
has
at
an album called 22 a Million. Do you think it's reference to that?
Not even a little bit.
Damn. I was like, maybe Justin Vernon's like doing some hot takes.
Now, since we are introducing ourselves right to this the Battle of New Orleans, I'm trying to get the listener to just understand the importance of New Orleans this entire time. Okay, that's what episode 1 is about. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, we're ready.
So according to Jackson, the British invasion of New Orleans was both imminent and obvious. All you had to do was look at a map, just like we did earlier, and see that the effort to take a port city that major was objectively the smart and correct move. The port of New Orleans would enable the Brits to consolidate westward expansion for the United States from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to Canada. So that's the idea here. Jackson and the rest of the United States knew that the British were trying to stop the expansion of the United States into the West. Newspapers in the United States would propagandize about the British and their war crimes against the citizens of the United States. Everything from rape to killing children was sprawled across headlines. The support the people to fend off British troops was through the roof. Jackson deduced that the British would attack from the eastern city 150 miles east of New Orleans. Good old Mobile. Every time I say
Mobile, Alabama?
That's right. Every time I say Mobile, can you say Bama?
Bama.
There it is.
I've heard some great things about Mobile, Alabama. My parents really like it there.
Really?
Yeah. They say they have good food and that the live music that is usually there is really good.
Dope. I would love to go check out Mobile.
Yeah, we used to drive across. My parents like to drive a lot, so we would go to like Pensacola a lot from Baton Rouge.
Pensacola's in Florida, yeah?
In Florida, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the Gulf side.
Man, I had no idea that you spent so much time in this part of the world.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm just looking like, dude, if you got New Orleans, like it's really easy to read about. It's nothing to see. Like you just get the whole river.
That's right.
And you just get the whole river up,
yeah,
and you go through Baton Rouge. You go everywhere you want to go.
It's huge. It's massive.
That's a big deal.
It's absolutely massive.
Okay, so they're gonna attack from Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good spot. That'd be a good staging ground.
They
get some
think
protection. It's a bay.
that's essentially kind of like we're gonna call that like the gateway into the West, right?
Yeah.
That's what Jackson is deducing here.
Jackson seems very competent.
Yep. So he was saying that Mobile would be the next stop for Jackson, or for himself, excuse me. He knew that the largest naval force in the world, known as the Royal Navy, might lead the siege, but to get to New Orleans, its ships would have to sail 100 miles up the Mississippi. Along the way, they would face American guns, changing tides, several sharp turns in the river, making for a slow and dangerous approach to their objective. Though he had no naval experience, Jackson understood these obstacles and guessed that the British would avoid a river assault. Hence, Mobile, Alabama.
Interesting.
So, quick side note here. For those of you who are history buffs or not even history buffs, a lot of people like the big thing that people like to say when they hear the Battle of New Orleans is like, did you know that was after the War of 1812? It was already over. So that's like a thing. That's like a...
Hey, did you know it was after the War 1812?
Yeah, dude. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's a thing. Like, for instance, our history teacher at our school, I was like, oh, I'm covering the Battle of New Orleans. He's like, did you know that it was after the War of 1812? It was already over. I swear to God.
That's so lame. I love it.
I swear.
I love our history teachers.
Dude, same. So, one of the major talking points is what I was just talking about. So
Wait,
let's
was that the young one or the old one?
Our history teacher?
Yeah.
We have an old one?
Do we have an old history teacher? What are you talking about?
That rhymes with pants?
No, that's our young one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The young one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinks he's so clever.
All right, so let's talk peace talks.
This
and
is really good
strategy
for the
right
listener.
quick.
The
They
listener
love it.
They love that joke.
They're like, man, inside jokes are great.
This is what podcasts need. This is what inside jokes. I don't want to name names, guys.
God, shout out to Senior France. All right. Now, though the war was technically over, peace talks came at a snail's pace. The theory from Washington's officials was that the British stalled peace talks so that they could still sneak in and capture New Orleans.
Okay.
That was the whole thing, right? That's why. So technically, yes, War of 1812 was over, but the official peace documents were not signed yet because they still wanted New Orleans.
Okay, the treaty wasn't signed.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. That's some Roman shit.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's like a huge talking point. So as the peace negotiators talked across the Atlantic, an express messenger arrived in Mobile, bringing Jackson bad news. His hunch had been correct. The British were indeed planning to land along the Gulf Coast of New Orleans. New Orleans. The dispatch Jackson received at 5 o'clock on the evening of August 27th, 1814, reported that 3 warships, the HMS Hermes, Charon, and Sophie from the Royal Navy stationed at Bermuda, had already landed a small force of men and armaments at Pensacola in Spanish Florida.
Interesting.
Jackson wrote from his tent with furious anxiety. The letter was sent to Tennessee asking for reinforcements, supplies, artillerymen, transport, and the entire state militia. Shit's about to be popping off, folks. It's coming.
Man, those boats are like, you have all these great names like Hermes, like, yes, is God, the messenger God. And you have the Charon, like the boat taker, like intense. We got Sophie.
Yeah, some dickhead was like, can we name it after my wife?
On Fridays, Sophie doesn't go to school the whole day because she likes to ride her horses. That's a Vacaville joke right there.
Yeah, I like it. That was fun. All right, here we go. Shit's about to get real, folks.
Whoa. This image is not like the rest.
On August 24th, the British invaded Washington.
Damn.
Albeit an empty one. News had traveled before they made their attack to the British, just went around and burned down homes and government buildings they knew were of importance. One building in particular was President Madison's house. The British made sure to drink his wine before burning all of his stupid fucking paintings.
Madison had a lot of paintings? I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was big into... Yeah, he was rich.
God,
the British also
boring.
made sure to burn down all of the newspapers because the newspapers were super anti-British.
Hey!
Washington was on fire with nobody to put it out. But luck would have it that it actually rained that night.
Whoa!
And put out all the fires. Yeah. This event shattered any hopes of coming to a peace agreement with Britain anytime soon. The biggest bummer and the burning of Washington on August 24th was the sad predicament of Andrew Jackson writing his letters to like Tennessee and to the Washington, to the war secretary. There was no building that the letter would go to. They were all burnt down. So he was fucked. Like his letters, right?
The rain really makes me feel like America is God's country.
God's country.
It's God's country over here.
Now, a little less than a month later, in September of 1814, the British sailed...
Wait. So the Battle of 1812 is not over.
The War of 1812.
There's no fucking treaty. The war's not over. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit.
I mean, I kind of agree with you.
Yeah. It wasn't signed.
Yeah. No.
It's like Whitney Houston said when What's-Her-Face said that you spent over $1 million on crack. Show me the receipts. Show me the receipts.
I mean, you're technically right, dude. It's right. Like the history books have it written right that the War of 1812 is over, but like as far as treaties are concerned, like not
hell no,
really,
not yet.
Yeah.
Show me the receipts.
That's why the Battle of New Orleans is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So the British are sailing into the Gulf of Mexico to lay down the foundation of its presence to getting into the good old New Orleans. All right, let's get into some pirate shit. Dude.
Whoa! I'm ready.
Can you give me some pirate music?
It's
good. It's really good.
Is it like a 9? It's like a 9/8, right?
Hopefully in post, Kevin puts.
I'm not gonna do shit in
some
post.
Like mandolin shit.
Nope, I'm gonna keep it just like I said it with no editing. It's
Great,
really good.
You're getting it raw, folks. Good.
That's a Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
That's it.
100%.
That's it. I feel like I'm there.
My piano player used to play it. It used to really annoy us because it was hard to play and no one could follow me. That's a lot closer than what I did.
You were literally making me think. I was like, do I know it? Maybe I don't. All right. The British arrived in southeastern Louisiana in a place called Barataria Bay. The Royal Navy was entering privateer territory, or pirate-controlled waters. The pirates would routinely wave Spanish and English flags to prove that they have sunk both, and trick other countries into thinking that the Royal Navy, or Spanish fleet, was enacting such violence on the open seas of the Gulf of Mexico.
Damn. Dude, privateers are in civilization. Your privateers will get you so much money.
Oh yeah.
They give you so much money in your game.
The Queen knew what she was doing when she would send out privateers.
Yeah, that is.
It's like, you're shady. They're doing your dirty work.
Me, the most honest person you know, I love privateers in civilization.
For sure.
I abuse them.
Yeah. It's war, baby.
Because you know why? Because it sends you into the modern age with so many resources that you get a lead that the other countries that you brutalize can't make up. Woo! It turns out that's more real than I thought.
And by the way, pirates still exist to this day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild that they still exist.
Yeah.
Like we're sniping pirates when we're trying to rescue U.S. people. Like that's pretty wild.
It's a thing, dude. So these guys are sailing in and looking for a Frenchman who has been known for his political and economical prowess amongst the pirates. His name was none other than Jean Lafitte.
Lafitte!
This dude is fucking dope.
Yeah.
I am so on board with this dude. Like learning about this dude every time that I would turn a page and it was about this dude Lafitte, I got so fucking happy. I was like, oh, this dude's dope.
His title, you can't read at the bottom, it says John Lafitte, the pirate.
The pirate.
The pirate.
The pirate. All right. Where am I at? So captains of the Royal Navy met with Jean Lafitte ashore in his very own lavish home. The British told Lafitte the following. I call on you with your brave followers to enter the service of Great Britain, in which you shall have the rank of captain. Your ships and vessels will be placed under the orders of the commanding officers in this station. And so Lafitte was immediately thinking to himself, all these motherfuckers asking or telling me to join their gross-ass queen-controlled country. How was that?
Your British accent is the same one they use in Baldur's Gate 3 for the little kids that are British.
Yeah, I wanted it to sound childish and stupid.
I loved it.
Okay, good.
I'm really huge fan of it.
So Lafitte's like, why the fuck do these British people think that I want to be a part of their douchey ass country?
Nice.
I'm like chilling here in Louisiana, living the good life.
He must be living it up. A pirate in Louisiana that speaks French?
He has a mansion.
Yeah,
He literally has a mansion.
he loves everything.
So the British offer this dude a fuck ton of money. They're like, we will give you $30,000, land, and pardons for your fellow pirates. But
the pardon's big.
yeah, huge. But the biggest gain that Lafitte now had was the confirmation of a massive rumor. The massive rumor being the British are going to fucking invade New Orleans.
Oh, whoa.
So he's like, you're idiots. So Lafitte kind of knew what was up. He was like, if I don't help the British, they will surely fight him and try to get New Orleans and everything else in front of them. So if he doesn't help them, he knows that they're going to try to fucking kill him to get New Orleans. So Lafitte was fucking smart, and he told the gentleman in his house that he was unable to give an immediate answer, and he would send them a letter with his intentions after giving it a proper thought. So Lafitte wrote 3 separate letters after sleeping on this new information the British gave him the day prior. Letter 1 was sent off to the British as an apology that he will most likely need 2 weeks to make a decision.
Great.
Which was really just a way to buy some time.
Yeah, I freaking love that.
Yeah. Letter 2 was Lafitte wanting to tell a good friend some juicy gossip and was basically spilling the tea to his homie via text. He's like, dude, you're not going to fucking believe what just happened, bro. Which is hilarious to me.
Good use of spilling the tea.
Yeah,
Good
thank
use.
you. He literally just wanted to text. He's like, I just got to tell someone.
I had to tell somebody this. And you're the bro. I can tell you.
He's just sitting there writing like, fucking what, drinking rum. Like,
Yeah.
This is fucking wild. Letter 3 was to the governor of Louisiana, William Claiborne, and it says, and this shit will give you chills. I tender my services to defend Louisiana. I am the stray sheep wishing to return to the sheepfold.
Whoa. I really like that.
Yeah, it's fucking
Just
dope.
like, I love where I live.
Yeah, it's fucking dope.
You see my hat? Vacaville Pride, friends.
All day, bro.
Woo!
Shout out to Bart Bridge.
Bart Bridge.
Yeah. They're going to sponsor us one day.
One day.
Who knows? It took a week for Jackson to hear of this visit Lafitte got from the British. That shit went 19th century viral. This information vindicated the fuck out of Jackson because the whole reason he was 150 miles east of New Orleans in Mobile, Alabama, was to protect that stronghold and decrease the clear path to New Orleans. Now, a small force of 72 Royal Marines and 130 Native Americans tried to hit Fort Bowyer, where Jackson had stood his ground with less than a quantifiable fighting force. The British were expecting Fort Bowyer to fall as easily as Washington did a few weeks earlier. But Washington fell because all the able-bodied men were at Fort Bowyer. The wind was blowing in the opposite direction for the ships making their approach to Fort Bowyer, so slow that they appeared like motionless. HMS Hermes indeed was motionless because it had run aground. So they just fucking bombed the shit out of these dudes.
Yeah, holy shit.
The night sky had lit up as 158 soldiers had stood their ground and won a massive victory, keeping the British from having a clear entrance into New Orleans from Mobile.
Can you imagine knowing the sandbar is right there and like, oh shit, they're slowly hitting a sandbar. You're like, are you sure? Like, dude, I fucking crashed into that sandbar last week. Like, they're slowly running into a sandbar. We should just start blowing them up.
Let's kill them.
Like,
Let's do it.
you know, it was heavy. Like, we should just bomb them right now.
Let's do it right
Like,
now.
Right now.
And then they were like, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, at the same time Fort Bowyer was being attacked, another fort in Baltimore was being attacked by the British. Fort McHenry had also won a major victory in the Battle of Baltimore, which we will absolutely cover in the future. The reason this battle is significant is because of a little dude known as Francis Scott Key. The battle inspired a poem called The Defense of Fort McHenry, which was published all over the country for Americans to read and get pumped up and fight the British.
I really hope I inspire a poem one day.
Dude, this poem was so inspirational
God damn it.
that it would be later known as America's national anthem.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's about this dude?
Yeah.
Just like
It's about
crushing
fighting.
it?
Yeah. It was a poem. And he was like,
That's the dream,
it's
man.
dope. It's dope. So
another man sees your action and be like, I think I need to write some poetry. Like, I gotta put this to pen and paper.
it's fucking awesome. So
I love that.
This shit spread like wildfire. And I was like, did you guys see the poem, dude?
Like, of course I saw the poem yesterday.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's fucking jacking everyone up, bro. It's like fucking, it would be like a song that someone fucking like, or like, man, I don't even know what is an equivalency that we have.
I don't know, but it makes me think, because I don't like the national anthem that much.
I gotta say,
I'm more of, I thought everybody was going to adopt Woody Guthrie's, like, This Land Is Your Land. Because that was supposed to be, that was an answer to, like, a bunch of national shit. And I thought that was the answer. But now I'm like, but this dude kind of did some epic shit.
the best version of the national anthem is Jack Black singing it before a basketball game. He crushes pretty hard.
No, he crushed it. But he's singing the Canadian anthem.
No, dude, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Not the basketball game. The basketball game, he sings the Canadian one. Am I
It's
wrong?
before a WNBA game. Like, he sings
Why am I
it,
so
and
wrong?
he fucking
Yeah.
crushes it.
I love Jack Black. I used to get called Jack Black a lot in college.
You did?
Yeah. I don't know. This is a thing. Because remember that movie he made is really bad? It's called Year One.
Yeah.
So there's like a part where he looks like an ox and he goes, yeah! And then, so my friends that I used to hang out with in college are like, we don't know why, Kevin, but like when we see you, we see, yeah!
That's fair.
And so like, I guess me at like 19 and 20 was more that.
So you were a spaz.
I was more, for sure. I was really, really broke and I was just trying to like have friends. But I worked all the time, so I had to hang out with them when I was very tired.
I want more people to come on here and talk about the battle of being a college student.
Yeah, it's a real battle.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't
But
know.
I know.
You know more than anybody.
Who knows?
What does it mean to know?
So Francis Scott Key's four verses, had sparked a patriotic fire that would help draw the nation together. And after years of defeats, America's fighting spirit had been stirred. Washington may have fallen, but the Union Jack did not fly over Baltimore. And so the British would strike again, reasonably believing that the greatest naval power on earth would ultimately be able to conquer New Orleans. The only thing standing in their way was Andrew motherfucking Jackson, and that's where we will pick up next time on the Battle of New Orleans.
We rump and we roar like true British sailors. We rump and we roar onto the seabed.
Yeah, and so there we have it. There's our introduction into New Orleans, dude.
I like it. I like it a
Do we
lot.
feel like we understand what the fuck is going on here?
It's very clear.
Okay, cool. It's very clear.
We got British people that are like, I don't know what British people sound like. Is that what they sound like? And then Andrew Jackson's like, no, not here.
You sound like a girl who's about to like a teenage girl that's like not quite
it's
there.
Yucky. It's yucky.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
I was going for.
yucky.
I wanted it. That's what, like, I wanted the New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Spoiler alert.
Man, it's crazy that the Native Americans were just thrust in there in the middle of this as a pawn on both sides. I wasn't expecting that, but
It
I
is
should.
an interesting-
Isn't it so funny that like, and we know because like as we've been developed, well, you don't know yet as much, although you might. But as I've learned more about education and stuff, I'm seeing more and more of like, you should probably fucking tell your kids whose land that you're really on. And so like that's coming up more and more over the last like 5 years. And so I'm trying to like, oh, I gotta remember that this isn't even my land. Like that this is all just like smallpox blankets shit. And and so like I'm like hearing you talk about the Native Americans and getting thrown in the middle. I'm like, well, that's weird. Like, why would they? Oh yeah, because we did that for everything.
Yeah.
The Columbus.
Yeah.
Have you read Columbus's letters? This is like a passage of rite of passage for English majors. You read Columbus's letters eventually, and like the first one, he's like, "Woo, made it!" Like this is dope. Everything's so cool. There's corn, and we like God literally planted corn for us. There's like these brown people, but like we don't like them. And like there's corn. God planted corn, and brown people are like, we'll take care of them. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And so like, and then you're reading his third letter. He's like, I want more money.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I served with a lot of Native Americans, dude. And I remember once I asked a dude, his last name was Lincoln, and I asked him, I was like, what, like, how do you, like, tell me everything, dude. Like, how you feel about all the things that happen. And he was like, it's pretty simple, bro. It really just comes down to greed. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's really simple that some people.
It gets complicated. Like when we're looking at this battle, like there's two opposing sides, like they have legitimate reasons, but then also like underneath all of it is just the simple greed of like, well, we want to stay here.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? And like that's a different argument.
It's sad that the bar is set so low that when Andrew Jackson was like, well, I'm not going to kill all of them. Like, they're cool.
We can work with this. We can work with this.
Yeah. So,
damn.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting where we go from here.
Yeah, I am really interested in this fucking battle.
It's fucking
I
cool.
love the Navy aspects. It's interesting because when we did Arletty Gulf, it was just about like the ocean and the Navy positionings.
Mm-hmm.
But this one has been so much about the land in relation to the ocean, which I find like super fascinating that you're talking about like Mobile because it's physical land, like distance from New Orleans, and like that matters all of a sudden.
Oh, yes.
I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be...
It's a different take.
It's going to get wild.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, dude.
If it doesn't live up to the song, though...
It's going to be better than the song.
Better than the song!
Yeah.
Better than the Battle of New Orleans.
Yes.
If you don't know, listener, there's a song called The Battle of New Orleans. Spencer and I are going to cover it. We're going to make our own version of it.
Yeah.
We love this song.
Yeah, I was talking about it with my father-in-law that I was covering this, and he started naming off facts. I was like, oh, how do you know that? He's like, there's a song.
I've never heard of this fucking battle, and I was like telling my sister-in-law who's from New Orleans, like, so do you know anything about the Battle of New Orleans? Like, in 1860, we took a little trip. And then I was like, okay, well, you know, that makes sense. You're from New Orleans. And I was talking to my wife, who's not from New Orleans, and I was like, so we're covering the Battle of New Orleans. And like, how do you know? But she made me feel dumb for not knowing it.
I mean, I will be 100% honest here that prior to us having this podcast, I hadn't heard dick about the Battle of New
Who's heard
Orleans.
anything about this?
No.
But I love it.
I do too.
I'm mad I didn't learn about it.
Same.
You know what I learned about the War of 1812 in school? They tried to have another war and it didn't go well. Like, I remember reading something like that as a paragraph in my history book.
This is classic America shit, bro.
Yeah.
We kind of gloss over our losing wars.
Whoa, we don't crush it?
What?
We don't crush it?
Well, all of the War of 1812 is pretty embarrassing. I mean, that's why the White House is the White House. It used to be like gray or something like that, but they had to paint over all of the like burn marks and shit. But I had a pretty, I like him a lot. I'll preface that. His name was Mr. Pless. I had a world civ teacher who was dope as fuck. And he knew that I wanted to join the Marines. And our entire War of 1812 section, he was just like, and let's not forget about the part where the Marines ran away. Like, all right, get it, got it, good. Ladies and gentlemen, fucking thank you so much for making it here, dude. Let us know what you think of this episode. Review, share it, tell your friends about it. If you like history in a very silly tone, this is what we're here for.
Deep dives with a silly tone.
Deep dives with a silly tone.
I like that.
Deep dives with a silly tone. You know, our on TikTok, our thing is Prior Marine and Rhetoric Aficionado.
Hey, there we go.
You like that?
Yeah, that makes me sound way more competent than I feel. But yes, I like it.
You should hear you should hear what your coworkers have to say about you. They're like, Kevin is too smart for this job.
I am not. My job is really hard sometimes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hella stoked that we're back here. We're back in like our groove.
It felt good the whole time. I was
really
like,
good.
I didn't know how excited I was going to be.
It's fun learning.
Yeah, I love it. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back within the next couple of weeks for part 2. I think this is going to be a 4-parter. So we appreciate you. And until next time,
Bonsai!
Do, 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 do.